speaker, and I have the very much pleasure of introducing our next speaker, Christina Johnson, who's an awesome person, and I just have a brief introduction, and I'll let her take over. Christina Johnson, this is great. She's the CSO, or the Chief Superhero Officer of her company, her very own company, Strategic Thinking Coaching and Development. She's had over 18 years providing in-depth employment services, including being a headhunter in multiple different industries. She's a friend of CPA. She's presented at a couple of our conferences, but on different topics and wearing different hats in different companies. And I'm so excited that she has her own company now, and she gets to share something new with us. So please welcome Christina Johnson.
Hey, good morning. Thank you so much, Denise. And first, you guys have got it going on. I've been involved in a couple of virtual conferences since all of this has hit. And even from our TA little meeting on Monday, and for those of you that are new to CPA, I want you to know that every one of these board members really gives so much of their own heart, their soul, their time, to really put so much effort into bringing this together, making it valuable for you. We know time is money and energy, and I know that really their hearts are in it. And so I just want you to know that if this is something that you're considering on joining or renewing, do it. And I can't wait to see what comes up in your monthly seminars. That sounds really cool that you're hitting both aspects of it. So Denise, thank you for inviting me back again. No matter where I am, what I'm doing, I'm always up for a CPA conference. I love working with you guys. And I was telling them on Monday that I still have all my old certificates of appreciation because, you know, they just always go above and beyond, not only to make the presentation great for you, but also to make sure that the presenters feel supported as well. So I appreciate that. What I'm going to do now is I am going to share screens here and move things around. And then I'm going to check in and make sure that you can see what you're supposed to be seeing and I can see what I'm supposed to be seeing. Let's do that. And then I'm going to minimize this. This is interactive. I know it's early in the morning. I'm really hoping that you have doubled down on the coffee or espresso to keep that energy going. It's a long session, but it's very interactive, and I want to hear from you. And that is what makes this presentation, I think, really work, is for people to share kind of what they're going through. So we've built in the time for there to be a little bit of dialogue. If it starts getting off track, I'm going to wrap it around and bring it back. But I want to know what questions you have, how this is impacting you, and what your thoughts are in general on that. So,
Christina?
Yes.
Can I just interrupt for a second? Your handouts are in the chat. They're the first thing in the chat this morning, and everyone should have received them via email as well.
Perfect. Yes, the two handouts that she's talking about are the emotional guidance scale. You're going to want this printed out, not just for today, but I'm going to tell you, it is an amazing piece to use with your customers as well. And so it serves a dual purpose here. So that is one that you're going to want printed out. This is the second one, the 12 areas of life. You don't have to know what it means just yet. We're going to take you all through it. If you don't have this printed out, no worries. We can build it together because it's just some simple columns. So no worries on that. But if you need a few moments to print those out, go ahead and do that. Let's pull up the chat. And, you know, with Zoom, everything is layered behind each other. So I want to make sure I can see where we're at. Okay. And Denise, can you confirm that you're seeing the presentation right now?
Oh, yes, yes, I can.
Okay, so you guys can all see secret sauce to creating a thriving life fueled by your values, outcomes, and identity. You guys can all see that? We're good to go? Awesome, good. So I want to tell you Denise gave you a little bit of an intro about who I am. Probably the last time that you guys saw me, I was actually Christina Harrington. So a lot has happened in this time, and I got married end of December. COVID hit. We haven't gone on a honeymoon, and everybody's life blows up all at the same time. So, that really brought about so much change, so much opportunity, and it was really about 6-8 months into COVID that I was originally asked to do a presentation. And I'm trying to move my slides forward so we can see. Here we go. That's just a little bit more about me, but I want to skip to this part. That I was asked to do this presentation about work-life balance. And I'm like, work-life balance? What do I know about work-life balance? Oh, work-life balance is everything. But the thing is we don't consider all the things that really feed into work-life balance. And how do we make this really juicy? Because who wants to live a mediocre life? I'm not here to live a mediocre life. I'm not here to get through day by day in some rut, in some routine. I want to experience all the things. So how do we not just have a work-life balance? And let me ask you, since COVID has hit, how many of you feel like you have more life in your work-life balance? Has that shifted to the life side for you guys? Yeah?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. How many of you it's shifted the other way? And I know that there's a lot of people, I have a lot of friends that are teachers. They're doing more than ever right now. How many of you it's shifted the other way to more work?
Yes.
Yeah, some of that too, right? And then how many of you have just snoozed through it all? Not many. So we know that we have been impacted. And the good thing is that we are coming, I feel like we're turning the corner, right? We're starting to get vaccines, things are starting to open up. I know my friends that work at the COC campus, they've got students coming back in. I know Denise was talking about that, but our life is now in another transition mode. So what is it that we can do now to maintain some of what we learned in this past year? And why is it important? And I think it's when we get to the understanding of why it's important to us and why we choose to live the life that we live, that we are able to sustain it. Because I'll tell you, when I was looking at ways to create work-life balance, within 60 seconds, this is my Google that I put in, ways to create work-life balance. You see the number of results that popped up? I mean, that's like 1,830,000,000 results. Everybody has an opinion or a way or a strategy to create work-life balance. And some of these, how many of these sound familiar? You've heard them, you do them daily, right? Getting organized, having set hours. That's one thing that has gone out the window for me since COVID has hit. Because it's all on our phone now, I sit there, I answer client emails, I'm doing Facebook posts, I'm doing this, I'm, responding to things. And that is some of where this comes in. So learning to say no, journal, unplug. I have a lot of friends that during this time, they went on a Facebook fast. And these are all great ways to create some boundaries. That's what this really is. These are boundaries. And these are important to have, but we want to take it one level, 1 or 2 levels, or 3 levels beyond that, because it's about getting in alignment and congruent with your values and the things that are important to you, not somebody else, not what you've been told is important or should be important to you, but the things that are important to you. And so that's the journey that I want to take you on today. And it's going to be a little bit of a roller coaster. So I want you to bear with me. And part of that is I want you to stay through to the end. I want you to commit to play full out, to do the exercises. I'm not going to know if you don't do the exercises. I mean, this is adult learning and that's all up to you, but you're only cheating yourself. And I want you to stay to the end so you can get the result that this can bring about. And there's going to be another raffle prize. I've got 2 options for you guys to choose from. And we're going to be doing that at the end, and you must be present to win. So with that, this is part of the problem. We see work-life balance as the only two things on the scale. But in reality, there's so much more. And in truth, work is a very integral part of who we are in life. It's a lot of, from my background of working I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Ticket to Work program. I managed a national virtual Ticket to Work program for Social Security Administration with Human Solutions, amazing company, but it's for people who are receiving SSI, SSDI, not working, and they're looking to go back to work. And I'll tell you, one of the number one things that I would always talk to these clients about is, why is it important for you to return to work? Why now? And we have to stop and look and see what that motivation is. It wasn't money. It was because that's where they got a sense of value. That's where they felt that they contributed. That's where they got part of their identity and their relationships. Look at, all the people here. If you guys have been in these conferences, you guys see the same faces. I mean, this is part of who we are, and who we connect to is what we do in our life. So I don't want to separate work from life, because work is an integral part of that being. So the truth is, we say that we don't have a whole lot of time in our life. And so when I did some research, and this is actually a graph from, I have it, the link down below, if you want to verify the stats, because I thought this was interesting. Because I was talking about how do Americans spend their time. And so this is where this information came from. But I love this little subpart at the bottom, how much time Americans waste on the daily grind each year. And I'm going to tell you, and I've done a lot of traveling over in Europe, our culture has fed us something different than the rest of the world. If any of you guys have traveled, you guys know, I was in Italy, October 2019. They really do shut down for several hours, kind of towards the end of the afternoon, to go home and have a meal with their families. That's their priority. Their businesses close down. All the employees go home to spend time with their families, because that is a priority. That is a value of that culture. And it was so eye-opening to me that, like, oh my gosh, how did we get to be like this? And more importantly, does it have to continue to be like this? And it doesn't. And you can start making small changes. So working hours, 2,883 hours. I think that is about right. If you're working a normal 40-hour-a-week job, I know many of you put in many additional hours. And then we sleep for about 3,212 hours. That one I know is way off for me. I don't know about you guys. Commuting. I know that most of you guys are probably here in LA. I'm up in the Santa Clarita Valley, that we spend a lot of time in commuting. But that is one of the things that has changed and will probably never be the same. So that's an exciting thing to look at. The time that we take care of our family and loved ones, 190 hours, cleaning house, 657 hours. I feel like I do that in a day. I don't know about you, between cleaning house, cooking dinner, taking care of the animals, my kids, the husband, it seems like it's a lot longer than that. And then exercising, 117 hours. So the thing is that the time is there. The time is there. It's how we choose to value and honor the time that we have according to what our values are. And that's really what I want to take a look at. So for some of you, you have, 4 weeks paid vacation with your employer. If not, then that is probably, something that you need to look at, is how do you schedule your time off or your vacation time? Even just like a 3-day getaway can be helpful. So I'm sure most of you are familiar with the 7 areas of life. It's a pretty standard diagram of the physical, mental, spiritual, family, financial, career, and social. And so these are the 7 general areas of our life that we spend our time and energy. And to be honest, I thought these sounded kind of boring, and I thought it left a lot to be desired. I feel that life is more detailed than that. And frankly, these just that I'm going to announce right now are more specific and they're juicier. And that is what we're really working towards, right? A juicy life, something that is full, fulfilling, passionate. And, I believe, I don't know if you guys have heard the philosophy Ikigai. It's not Ikigai, like a creepy guy. It's Ikigai. And it is a philosophy, and there's a lot of controversy if you look it up of where the origins are. But everybody agrees that it's comprised of 4 main areas: that which you're good at, that which you love to do, that which contributes to community, and that which you can get paid for. And I believe to have these 4 main areas somewhere in these areas of your life is what is going to build a fulfilling life. So this is the list, my slides, there we go. There we go. Hold on. So one of the things that I like to say is every decision that we make gives us one free consequence. We're either making the choice to become more of the person that we want to be or not. And this is where we'll look at these different areas of life, see how the decisions that we make get us closer to the outcome that we're looking for and desire, or it gets us further away. And there's generally 2 types of motivators that people respond to. Either you're motivated by what you don't want to happen, or the negative result, or you're motivated by the positive goal, the reward, or the good outcome. And we're going to get to explore both. And this is where we're going to hold your feet to the fire, so to speak, because we know if we're not contributing our time, energy into the things that we value most, the consequences will show up eventually. And it's about getting ahead of those and identifying what those are so we can make the choices in our daily habits. They say you are what you eat. No, you are what your habits are. Your habits create your daily activities. They create your daily outcomes, and that is who you are. And so we want to get to, how do we get to this value, to a habit, to an outcome that reflects who you are? And the more honest you are with understanding what the true result or consequence is, the more that you're actually going to get out of this. So if you want to take your 12 areas of life paper, if you don't have it, take a piece of paper and write down in the column the areas of life, and we're going to go through them one by one. And it has a little definition that you can read along as we go through. So the first area of life is health and fitness, and how you would look at where you are physically, given your age, your activity level, that type of things. And then friendships. This is a measure of how strong of a support network you have. Do you have at least 5 people who you know that they have your back and that you just love being around them? Number 3, adventures. How much time do you get to travel, experience the world, and do things that open you up to new experiences and excitement? Environment. This is the quality of your home, your car, your office, and the general spaces where you spend your time. Your love relationships. This is a measure of how happy you are in your current state of relationship, whether you're single and loving it and you're in a relationship with yourself, or in a relationship with somebody else, a partner, or you're dating or desiring a relationship. Then you have your intellectual life. And this one I really love. How much time do you set aside intentionally to learn new things? How fast are you learning? How many books or podcasts do you listen to? Do you listen to, TED Talks on the way home from work? Are you seeking to actively learn from others? Your skill set. How fast are you improving the skills that make you unique and help you build a successful career or enjoy a meaningful pastime, just a hobby? Spiritual life. How much time do you devote to spiritual, meditative, or contemplative practices that help you feel connected, balanced, and peaceful? Number 9, your career. Are you growing progressively and excelling? Or do you feel stuck in a rut? If you have a business, is it thriving or is it stagnating? Because there is no status quo in life. There is no just going along for the ride. You're either growing or shriveling, as I like to say. Creative life. Do you paint, write, do something with your hands? Maybe it's, to be honest, one of the things that I loved to do growing up was work on cars. That was such a huge outlet for me. I grew up in the boondocks, and my first car was like, well, if you want it, you have to make it run. So I spent summers working in a garage that I absolutely loved, taking pieces apart and putting them back together, and I could get lost in that activity for hours. And then family life. How's the relationship with your partner, your parents, your siblings? If you don't have immediate family, what's your extended family like? Your adopted or chosen family. And then your community life. Are you giving, contributing, and playing a definite role within your community? And I can say, just from knowing who's in this conference, you are already contributing to community. I feel that what we do on a daily basis impacts not only that person in that moment, but it's a generational thing. And you can create lasting impact in waves that we will never see the full impact of it. So I feel like we're already tapped into that. But is there something else that you would want to do? So in your second column, I'm going to have you rate these from 1 to 10. 1 being they are least important in your life, and 10 meaning that they are most important in your life. You can only use each number once. I'm sorry, it's actually from 1 to 12 because there's 12 columns or 12 categories. So spend a few moments now and just write down 1 to 12. 1 is least important, 12 is most. Go ahead and do that now.
And Christina, I see that Gina Martel has her hand up, so I think she may have a question.
Great. If you can keep it, I'm so thankful that you told me that. I can't always see that. Gina, take yourself off mute. What's your question?
I think that my hand was raised for something earlier when you asked about if we were more balanced with work and something else. So I will remove that. I thought it went away. Sorry.
Don't be sorry. No, it's all good. Okay, you want to see the list? Go back one slide. You got it.
Elizabeth is asking to go back one more slide.
How about that one? Does that work for you? I think they're pretty much all on there. There we go.
Thank you.
Of course. Skills category. It's how you are building your skills in whatever it is that you do. Let me go back to that definition. Skills. How fast are you improving the skills that make you unique and help you build a successful career or enjoy a meaningful pastime? Of course. Let me bring it over one more. There we go. Okay, so you should have most of those done, rated on where you feel those areas of your life, where they're at right now. So the next column is how important are they to you? So the first column is kind of where they're at in your stage of life. Yeah, Benton, it is. It is hard to rate them when you can only use the numbers once. That's the challenge of it. So rating them is, and I apologize. You know what? I'm going to ask you to take a step back on the rating from 1 to 10. It's just, where do you feel they are in your life? Not how important they are, but how do you feel, like health and fitness? Are you kind of working out, not really working out? Maybe it's a 5, so that's where it is in your life right now. Then we're going to rate them on how important it is. Yes, no silly questions. They're all good. 1 is the least important. Of course. Now, just because you rated an area low in the first column doesn't necessarily mean that it's important to you right now. And that's okay. For example, let's look at environment. Maybe your, let's just use a car as an example, or your home office. Maybe, I think that's a good example since we're usually working from home office right now. Column 1, you're rating where it's at in your life on a scale of 1 to 12, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's important to you. So if your home office, is only so decked out and comfortable because you're going to be heading, back onto campus or back into the office soon, it's not a high priority. And in column 2, you're rating how important it is to you. Okay, Ara, I'm reading your chat right here. Would like to cluster the categories. What is most important to me and where they are in my life right now. You're on the right track. Just hold tight. Yeah, when we really have to put a number to it, and I was shocked, and I got to tell you that I did this exercise for myself as part of putting this presentation together, and I had to make a few choices about things. Okay, how is everybody doing? Do we have your first column, your areas of life, your second column where you've rated those areas as they are, and then the third column, this highlighted blue or green column, how important they are to you? Is everybody pretty good on that? Okay. Now I want you to look at this second column, the how important. and look at the ones that you've rated, say 6 or higher, that they're highly important to you. So just look at those top ones, the 6 through 12. That's your top half that are most important to you. From these 6, I want you to pick 3. Just 3 that are most important to you, that you're feeling so connected to right in this moment. And then I want you to circle them, because those are the ones that we're going to focus on today. And the reason I chose 3 is if we looked at this, it could get kind of overwhelming, right? Because we know that there's at least 6 areas that are important to us that we know, if we're not rating them and we're not putting a high priority on them, 6 is a big number to work with. So we're just going to work with 3. Okay. Does everybody have their 3 picked out? I'm going to come back over here so I can see my screen. Does everybody have their 3? Okay, I see a couple thumbs up. Those of you that have your camera, okay, thanks, Anne. Aura, okay, Eileen, awesome, good. So get those 3 centered in your mind, because that's where you're going to make some really amazing changes in your life today.
Really quick question, Christina. There, in the chat box, they were asking if you can elaborate a little bit on what does it mean to feel connected to? And this is a question by Elizabeth. Great question, Elizabeth.
Yeah. So when you look at those, how does it make you feel? And we're going to go a little bit deeper into it. But, one of the first things that I always work on with my clients is trusting their intuition. There's so much that we go through, so much noise and chatter and external information. And we as a society are on information overload. We have information coming to us 24/7 in just a barrage, and it's usually about somebody else's opinion. My goal with my clients is to get them connected back with their intuition and trust their instinct. And part of that is just being still and listening. And when you say these words, what emotion does it evoke? And that's where you feel the connection. And it's not by what somebody else has told you should feel or what you have been told should be done. It's what you feel inside. And when we listen to where we're connected inside, that's where we can make changes, because we can't change all the external stuff. It's just inside. Okay, great question. And does that help you look at what connected to means? Megan, I'm coming to you next. I want to make sure that we answered, it was Elizabeth, right?
Yes, that was Elizabeth.
Okay, Elizabeth, are you good with that? Is that helpful? Okay. Let's see. Would it be okay if we chose areas that are lower than 6 that we wish were maybe a higher priority? Okay, so if you're rating them of where they are in your life, yes, and that's exactly what we want to do. We want to take the areas of our life that are not where they should be, but are the most important to us. You're absolutely right on track. Love it. Okay, does everybody have theirs? I know we've got like rating and connecting and emotion. We've got all this stuff going on. So trust your gut in this. Trust your instincts. Okay, okay, the skills category. That was one that we talked about. And it's really about what are you doing to grow your skill set? Are you taking online courses? Are you one of the things that I did over COVID is because for my business, I really needed to put together some Excel spreadsheets to track, my budgets and, my expenses and stuff. I took an Excel course because that was something that was going to help me be more efficient in my business. So it could be something work related that where you're growing your skill. It could be a public speaking course if that is something that you're looking to do more. And it could be a hobby. But it's how are you growing? How are you expanding? How are you continually learning new things? Great question. Okay. Let's go back to the PowerPoint. There we go. Okay. So these are going to be some questions that for the next column of the consequences. Remember I said that every choice offers one free consequences? This is where it comes in. And I only want you to do this for the 3 most critical areas that you identified. And I want you to just jot down some words in the consequences column, the blue column here, of what happens if these areas are not attended to. Okay? So just the 3 areas. I want you to ask yourself, when these areas are not attended to, how does this make me feel about myself? Who else does it impact when these areas are ignored? Where do I feel this in my body? What are the long-term effects if it gets worse? How does it impact my job and my potential earnings? Does this keep me up at night and make me worry about what happens if this doesn't get fixed? What's the worst part about not attending to this area of my life? If I keep doing what I'm doing, what's my life going to be like in 5 or 10 years from now? And when is the best time to start paying attention to this area of my life? And then why must I start fixing this now? And you notice that must is capitalized. It's not that it would be good, that it would be, I should probably do it. It's why must you?
Christina, thank you for sharing this activity with us because it's true. And for me, that balance is the thing. And part of it is affecting my health. So it's like, okay, now that must is because now my body's reaction is there. So it's like, okay, I can't function and keep doing what I've been doing for so many years. I'm going to actually need more sleep now.
Uh-huh. They don't call it the COVID-19 pounds for nothing. I mean, we've all, Megan, I see your expression. That's totally how I feel 100%. But, and that's one of the things that we really had to sacrifice over the past year is being able to get out, not, being told that we had to do, if we wanted to go outdoors, we had to put the hazmat suit on and, we had to stay away from people. That impacted our exercising, getting outdoors, socializing, connecting with people. But now we have the chance to come back into it. So if we're going to do this, let's do it right. This can be, if you choose for it to be, a defining moment. And I really like Venden's comment here. I notice these values will change depending on where you are in your life. Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, there are things, I would say my career was probably number 1 in my 20s and 30s until I had kids. Then it was, being able to spend quality time with my family. Did I make choices to reflect that? Absolutely. But, my kids are older now. I've got 2 high schoolers, and I'm not ready for them to leave the nest right now. I'm taking one driving around town, which you guys don't want to be on the road when she is. But after that happens, right now it's about having adventures as a family. And that's a priority. Everything is scheduled around the things that are a priority for me. So health is so important to enjoy life. Absolutely. And, if we look at the consequences of not, or let's look at the benefit of having a healthy life. I know when I give up, and this is how I've changed my frame in my mind. It's been giving up an hour of my day to go and walk at the park with my dog. I come back and it's like I've created 2 to 3 hours in my day. I'm more focused, I'm more energized, I'm less distracted. And that's one of the things that we're going to talk about is how do we frame these things in our life. So health and fitness is one of your top 3. Awesome. Health is imperative and we need it. Love it. Who else had some other things in their top 3? I would love to hear them.
Hi, Christina. This
Hi.
is I'm retired. So, I was looking at this list and I'm thinking, what's most important and where am I right now with it?
Mm-hmm.
As far as one of the most important things I think is health, especially when you retire, because you tend to not do as much, especially in the environment that we're in right now.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a priority for me to improve that. And in doing that, it can benefit with my environment. So, like I do more housework. When I looked at that, how many hours of housework, it was just like, what? Absolutely. And it could be more than that, because it seems like you're always doing something. You're always in the kitchen, you're always creating something different. So, but when I look at that, and then I look at, 2 years ago, my career was so important.
Mm-hmm.
And, in career and creativity, those two things together were so important. But now that I've, retired, it's back to family, and the health of my family, the caring for them and my home.
Mm-hmm.
So that I just wanted to share that.
I love that. And I love it when we can allow ourselves to recognize when we need different things. And, this is a great check-in. You guys can always come back and, seriously, in 10 minutes, you guys identified 3 critical areas and meaningful areas of your life. There are days or weeks that sometimes they shift dramatically depending on what's going on. But what if you looked at this on a monthly basis and you started growing, 3 areas of your life in 1 month, and you kind of create a new baseline for that, and then you add in another 3 more a couple of months down the road, even 3 more, halfway through the year. Where does that put you at the end of the year? And I apologize, I'm getting ahead of myself. I get really excited of thinking about what the potential is for having this amazing life that is running on all 12 cylinders. What kind of machine does that make you meet? And I don't machine as in like robot, but how do you move through life? How connected are you to the values that you hold dear? And that would be, it impacts so much stuff. And this is what we're going to get to. And I get so excited about us. But I honestly believe that when we put these priorities right at the top of our life, because they have meaning to us, and we show up in that capacity, everybody around us benefits. It is of to no sacrifice to anybody else when we put our values first. Because if we're showing up in alignment and congruent with our life and our daily habits reflect that, everybody wins. And that's what this is about. Adding little by little. Yep. Oh, good. I'm seeing a lot of different ones. I see health, fitness, adventures, family life, love, spiritual, creative life. One of the things that I've been hearing a lot from the group that I work with is that COVID has brought about so much isolation. And for those that didn't have a strong sense of connection with family, relationships, a love life, whatever that looked like for them, it really highlighted the isolation part of it too. So coming in, how do you meet new people when you're not allowed to go and meet new people? So that is something that I've seen come up a lot in the groups that I work with too. COVID has allowed for us to reevaluate our top 3. Absolutely. Friendships, love, spiritual community. These are beautiful. Love it, love it, love it. Okay. Any questions or concerns? We're gonna move on. Okay. Have you guys gotten through the consequences? This is critical, that we have to understand if we don't take care of our health. And I'll just be totally transparent here. I had to go in last Monday for an MRI on my back because I haven't been exercising. I have a couple of things that I'm going to probably require, like a epidural steroid injection, just to be able so I can start moving again. I used to do mud runs. Was an avid kayaker, open water kayaker, paddleboarder. I used to be a river guide. I can't do those things anymore because I've allowed this to get to a point. So I'll tell you, for me personally, health and fitness is my number one. I've got all the other things going on, but health and fitness has really taken a back burner. But the consequences, that is what scares me the most. Not that I can't, some of the things that I can't do anymore that I used to do. For an example, my daughters are into surfing. So I had my husband pull down my paddleboard the other day. I thought we were going to go surfing. My kids were going to go out in the ocean. I was going to go out beyond the waves. I was going to go paddleboarding. And I can't. I spent 3 days in my bed, flat on my back. So something has to change. It sucks getting older. Totally. And I don't feel old. I mean, I know I'm getting there. I'm getting close to 50, but I don't feel old. And I don't want to be old. I've got too much that I want to experience. So the consequences of not being able to spend time with my girls while they're surfing, of not being able to take them on the adventures, of being in pain, a lot of the time, it's really hard. So the things about, what if this doesn't get fixed? Oh, eventually, God forbid it's not another 15, 20 years, my kids are going to have grandkids. Do I want to have adventures with them? Absolutely. Do I want to travel? I'm not waiting to travel until I retire. I want to do it now. But does it make it harder? Yeah, we're supposed to go hiking up in, the Munros in Scotland this year. I got some serious training to do if I want to kick some butt. Yes, when I am my best, happiest, healthiest, my circle notices and benefits from the good. And the opposite is always true. So are you guys very clear on what the consequences are? Because until we have that clarity, until you feel the pain, and I don't mean to be a downer here, but I'm being honest and I'm bringing the truth. Until you have clarity on what the consequences are, if you don't get it fixed, you won't make changes. It is a proven statistic that people don't make change unless there's a pain consequence to it. While some people move towards the positive, there are some of those few people, most of us try and move away from the pain. Let me ask you, we're actually going to do it in a minute, but I'm going to take a break and do it right now. Grab your emotional guidance scale, this little colorful piece of paper right here. You guys got that? I love this. I did not create this. This has been around for a very long time. You can download more copies, but I always keep this. When I had an office and I had clients come in, I would keep this, on my desk. I love the visual representation of where you're at. So the emotional guidance scale, you'll see that there's an upward spiral and a downward spiral. At the top of your upward spiral and it's in the purples and blues. And that's when you are connected and feeling joy, knowledge, empowerment, freedom, love, and appreciation. That's the top. When you are in this vibration, this is where you can make shifts happen. If you start lowering your vibration and you're coming to like enthusiasm, maybe you're positive. Positive is being good, right? Maybe you're optimistic and hopeful and content. These are all on the upward spiral. These are your energy vibrations. And then you have your downward spiral that starts with boredom, kind of an apathy, like pessimism. And then it starts getting lower into overwhelm, disappointment. And then we get into the orange and reds. And I'll tell you, there's been a lot of times the clients that I've worked with, the customers that I've worked with, they're coming in this orange and red zone. And you guys may see this too. Blame, anger, revenge, hatred, rage. And then at the very low, the lowest possible vibration is fear, grief, and depression, powerlessness, and that victim mentality. So I like to look and identify where my emotional home is. Where do I function best? I function best up in this area. This is where all the creativity, the excitement, I can do this. I may not know exactly how it's going to happen, but I can figure it out. I've got resources. This is where things are possible. And the lower I sink into here, very rarely do I get down here. I've done a lot of work over the years on self-development. This is usually the lowest that I get. And there are days, and that happens sometimes. And if you guys ever have chronic pain, headaches, low back pain, knee pain, it brings you down here pretty quick, right? And it's learning about how to adjust your vibe and bring it back up here. But let me ask you, the emotional chat guidance, it might be at the very top of the chat, Donnie.
I'll take a look at it. I'll look for it and I'll bring it down. Let me see if I can find it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Renee, I'm extremely impacted by chronic illness. What the mind wants and the body can do are extremely misaligned. That is probably brings the highest level of frustration. And that is something that you have to address every single day, one aspect or the other, and how do you manage and make it work? I've worked with dual diagnosis at-risk youth before. When you have mental health issues or you are going through a depressive mode, these are things that are going to be very common in your day. But it's also how we can recognize where we're at and the choices that we make from them. And if I'm going to suggest, if you're down here in this zone one day, don't make any choices. Just let it ride, be in tune with where you're at, but make the choices from this space. And I'm going to show you how to do that, because this is where you're going to be showing up as your best version of yourself. Thank you, Christina. Yes, this is sacred space here. This is where we all honor each other for wherever we are at on our path and our journey. And everybody's is going to look different. We all come from different backgrounds and all dealing with different circumstances. So I appreciate it. I appreciate the vulnerability that it takes to be able to express this, and the vulnerability it takes to be honest with yourself. So it's not easy. And when you do this, you're going to reap the rewards for it. So if you look at the consequences that you wrote down, where does that put you on your emotional scale? You guys can just put in a color, a word, something that you identify with. I'm going to be pretty honest. Last week, I was in a lot of pain. Anger. I was angry. I was angry that at 47 that I'm feeling like this and that I allowed myself to get like this. It's been a tough this year with a great loss of friends. Yeah, it is. And you're going to find that your emotional home, there's maybe more variance in it. But this is one thing that we can change, that we can get into. And I'm going to actually give you the skills and the tools to make those changes on a daily basis. Because remember, it's our habits that create who we are. And the habits are what we choose to do on a consistent basis. Yeah, it's been a huge year of loss. And I honor that. I honor that you had to go through that mourning. And if you haven't, spend a moment there. It's okay. It's not something that you're going to be able to shove deep inside, because it will bubble up like a freaking volcano. There's no other word for it. I'm sorry. That's what happens. We have been told to segment so much of our personality. Part of the work-life balance. When we're at work, we're supposed to leave our home life at home. I'm sorry. I don't stop becoming a mom. I don't stop thinking about my kids. I don't stop thinking about my husband just because I'm spending 8 or 9 hours in an office. We are not meant to be like that. We have done ourselves a disservice by telling us that we should compartmentalize and we should shut down. And that is why there is rage. Because it's uncontrollable. When we deal with it, we can control it. Thank you, Linda. So good to see you. Okay, I'm bringing the slides back up. Okay, so I want you to just identify for a moment, if you don't want to put it in the chat box, fine, where you are on the emotional scale. Right at this moment, after going through this exercise, I want you to be in tune with where you're at. Okay, and just sit and think about that for a moment. Because this is part of where we can make a change. And I'm hoping that you guys, oh, can you guys hear the music? Hold on.
Not yet.
No? Oh, shoot. That's because there we go. Okay. Because what we have to do right now is push back from your desk. Everybody push back. Bring your cameras on. I need to see your faces. And we got to get up and dance.
Like I don't care, baby, by the way. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like happiness.
I don't care where you're at. Make your coworkers jealous. Make them wonder what in the world you're doing. Come on, it feels good just to stand up and move. This is like a whole body experience here, folks. Come on.
Here come bad news, talking this and that. Well, give me all you got and don't hold it back. Well, I should probably warn you, I'll be just fine. No offense to you, don't waste your time. Here's why. Because I'm happy. Clap along if
Here we
you
go.
feel like a room without
Thank you, Brendan. He's getting down.
Clap along if you feel
Nora.
like happiness is the truth. Because I'm happy.
We got DJ Goddess Sarah Rivas.
Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like that's what you want to do. Hey, bring me down. Can't none.
My mom even wants to join.
My dog usually comes up and starts freaking out with me right now.
Bring me down. Can't none bring me down. The love is too high. Bring me down. Can't none bring me down. I said, clap along if you feel
Those
like
arms
a
up.
room
I know you're not supposed to put your arms up. Come on.
Clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Clap along if you know what happiness
I'm moving my screen
is.
around to see who's all dancing. Oh, well, and then it stopped it. Okay. Oh. When was the last time you guys got up and danced? How long has it been?
It's been a minute.
Quite a while.
Been long.
Yesterday. Okay, Carla, where's the party?
We may just have to do like a virtual party. We may have to do like a CPA happy hour, invite Christina and others, and then we can just have a DJ Sarah
And DJ Christina, she's got
and
it.
DJ
She gives me
Christina.
a
Between
really
the
great-
two of you, we'll have a block party with everyone on a virtual thing. Get
And
a
DJ
move on,
Denise.
exercise.
And I'm totally down for that. And that, I mean, there's days where I'm sitting here doing a dance party with my dog. I mean, I definitely need that. Shelly, you needed that too. Awesome, Renee. Okay, grab your paper. Where are you at right now? Where are you at? What color? What word? Think about it right now. Okay, that totally.
Benton is in the purple stage. Woohoo! Purple is such a
me
beautiful
too.
color.
You put the page up. Absolutely. Okay, let's see.
Okay.
I'm only going to show you the upward spiral because that's where you should be right now. No, I'm kidding. Purple's up at the top. Is it different than what it was before the dance party?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's another yes.
Yeah. Yeah. How easy was that? 2 minutes. You totally changed your vibration. One.
Okay, so every morning we're gonna have a dance party with you to make your day.
That would be the best part of my day. And I got to tell you, that's all it takes. One, if you listen to music, and I love music. I've always been live music. I love, it's always been about music for me. I can't sing, I can't play an instrument, I can't do any of that, but I can enjoy it. But if you listen to music, the songs that get you excited, I mean, who can't listen to Happy and take some of that, you know? And then if you move to it, it's like it's like a catalyst. It increases your energy exponentially. So if you can go out and you walk, listen to music, move your body, move as much of your main frame as you can while listening to something exciting. 2-3 minutes, we weren't even dancing for that long. And half of us were out of breath, me included. But it changed your vibration. It changed your energy. And now you know you don't have to stay down here. You don't have to. That's a choice. That's a choice. And you get to be responsible for that choice. So stop acting like it's okay to be in suffering. Suffering is optional. And suffering sucks. And nobody shows up as their best person in suffering.
And there's a couple of comments there. Elizabeth is saying that prescription for dance parties twice per day.
PRN, baby. PRN as needed.
And then you have another one by Sarah Chavez saying, I think we may have been too content or boggled by all that's occurring that we forgot to just enjoy life a little. So thank you. She thanks you.
Hasn't it been heavy? It's been so heavy for a very long time. And I'm going to share that, you know, while our generation has had experiences of extreme or profound emotion at 9/11, I think everybody that's on here has been exposed and was around the time at 9/11. Our kids, this younger generation, they do not have a point of reference for getting through something that traumatic. And I think that's why COVID has hit this younger generation emotionally harder, because they don't have any built-in resilience. and they're still learning that. And some of these younger generations don't have much resilience. And this was a very hard lesson for us to see, how are we building resilience in the younger generation? So we get to use that. We get to model that. We get to be the leaders that pave the way, but we have to fix ourselves first. We have to choose to walk out of suffering and choose to live life. Oh, there we go. Okay. So if what we did before was the hell, then this is the heaven. And now we get to switch it up and focus on the amazing outcome that you want to create. So I want you to look at, we're going to still work in these three same categories that we were before. We did the consequences. We filled out all of this all the way to the consequences. Now we're going to be talking about your amazing kick-ass outcomes. In these three areas of your life, now that we get to choose our outcome coming from a higher vibration and emotional home, what are the outcomes that we get to create for ourselves? What do you want these three areas of your life to look like? And I want you to think and just close your eyes for a minute. If you just want to sit back, and I just want to go through some of this. Think about how you know feeling you're now living these areas of your life with excitement, passion, and feeling connected to the best version of you. What does that look like to you? Who is in your life that gets to experience this outcome with you? Where are you? Does it mean an adventure is taking you someplace new? Are you laughing? Are you feeling playful and excited? And how do the people in your life benefit from being around you when you're now living with these new outcomes? And I'm going to go over to the chat here. I see it's buzzing. Let's see. Okay. So outcome is the hoped for or goals. And then, or our outcomes. Elizabeth, this is so poignant. The outcome or your goal is attached to an emotion. If you can't visualize your goal, we know that's important. We know what it should look like. But if you can't connect with it on a visceral level, where do you feel it in your body? Does it make your fingertips tingle? Does it make your chest full of like excitement? Does it make your heart feel at peace? We have to have a goal, but if we can't connect an emotion to that goal, you'll never know when you get there. It's a guidepost. One of the things when I work with my clients, I talk about creating guideposts along the way. These are your checkpoints that you put a guidepost with a light at the top of it that shows you that you're moving in the right direction. And those are always connected to emotions. So if you're going forward and something doesn't feel good, it brings you to a lower emotional home. It brings you down to disappointment, worry. You don't put a guidepost there. You don't want to go that way. You don't want your light to shine on that. You want to say, where do I need to pivot? Where do I need to shift? What are the outcomes that I want? How do they make me feel? And you stake a guidepost because that's your light in the dark.
Christina, there's a
Yes.
question that's asking, so is outcome our hope for goals, or is it our emotions?
Yes, that's what I was just talking about, is that the outcome is the hoped for goal, and it's connected to an emotion. So think of that goal. Think of how you want to feel. Think of how your body would react if it knew you fed it the way it should be fed, if you worked it like it should be worked, if you honored it like it should be honored. What is the emotional connection when you're feeling that? Or the outcome for me is feeling aligned with my inner self and my world. Fulfillment. Oh, yes, more of that. More of that. These are guideposts. How do you know when you've reached there? So when you're living in this new emotional home, you're making decisions based at a higher vibration. You're creating these outcomes that you're connected to the emotion behind them. And that's the problem with goal setting. Everybody talks about goal setting. Why are the goals important? Do you know what the consequences are? Do you know where you want to be? I always talk about outcomes versus goals, because the goals are usually in a set way of doing things. There's more than one way to get to an outcome. There's more than one way. And that allows you to expand into an opportunity versus contraction. And I'm going to get into that in a moment. You like the idea of creating guideposts to recognize when students make it? Yeah, absolutely. People need to celebrate meeting their goals and give themselves credit. I'm sure we need to do the same. You know what this is? This is your opportunity. This is your opportunity to expand into celebrating every single day. And this is huge. I do a group coaching call. It's usually on Tuesdays, but we did it last night. First thing that we do when everybody gets on the phone or the Zoom call, we go around and we share celebrations, whether it be progress in their career or work-related celebration or a personal celebration. It's a way to connect to the feeling. Because once you do that, your brain will automatically create more instances to recreate that feeling. We know this to be true because, you know, when we exercise, it releases endorphins. There's other types of chemicals that are released when we celebrate that we can still recreate those euphoric feelings by celebrating our accomplishments. And I'll tell you, after 2-3 weeks of somebody being in my group, they don't have to think about their celebrations. Like, oh no, what happened this week? I don't have anything to celebrate. Because you know what? They plan them. They make amazing things happen every week because they know I'm going to ask for them. And it's like the best part of their week. And they get to come in and they get to be supported. And it's not bragging. It's not boastful. It's about being appreciative of every step of the journey on our way. Okay. People need to celebrate meeting their goals and give themselves. Yes, yes, yes. I want to make sure I have this right. Can we use the scale as an outcome response? Great question. Okay, so Gina, what I'm thinking is that we need to identify where we are on our emotional scale. We only look and identify the outcomes that we want to create if we're in this higher vibration. Because if we're in this vibration over here, the outcome's going to look a lot different. So if we create our outcomes from this higher area on the scale, then the outcomes are going to be more in alignment with who we are. Does that help?
It helps a little bit, but I think more of what I'm saying is, so like when I'm looking at my chart and it says outcome, and you said goals kind of like an emotion. So would it be appropriate to write in my column, like say 7, contentment? Would that be an outcome that I would write down? Like, I feel like my outcome would be good for me at a 7, which is contentment.
I want you to get deeper than that. I see what you're saying now. Thank you for explaining that.
Okay.
What I want is more. How does it show up in your life? What are the visual characteristics? What does it look like, feel like, touch, smell? What are some of the more tangible things that you would want in your outcome? If it's spending more time with family, that when you're with family, you feel connected. You guys do things together. Maybe you would get the feeling like you know that you could call them if you ever needed them. That type of thing.
Okay.
Do you have one that we want to work through together?
No, not really. I'm just
Okay.
like trying to like figure out like how do the steps actually take place. So like when you did the consequences column, you had that great like visual of, you know, the questions.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, okay, hopefully she's going to put something up for like outcome. So I was waiting and I was like, okay, like, what is it I'm supposed to write here? Like, I'm kind of confused on, you know, am I supposed to just look at my scale and say, oh, okay, well, this is the one I want to work on. And when I get to, you know, contentment, I'll be happy with that column.
How does this look? Is this helpful? The desired outcomes. How does it make me feel about myself? And I had you guys closing your eyes, so you probably weren't looking or looking to write down. So
Yes,
this
that looks good.
awesome. Good. Thank you.
Okay. Thank
I'm
you.
so glad. No, I'm glad you asked for that. It's perfect.
Thanks.
So
Christina, could you
yes.
go back to the slide where you have the images of the colors?
Images. Oh, yes, right here.
That one. I just want to, I just want to do a quick picture snippet. That's all.
Yeah, of course.
With the audience.
Good.
Oops. Thank you. You're good.
Okay. And I also want to see, do you see how you can use this emotional guidance scale with your customers? Would this be helpful if they're having a hard time and you're working with them towards something, you know, and asking them to build an outcome that they're looking for, that they should be doing it out of the upward scale. And this would be a great way to do that. Could you guys see yourself using that potentially?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, good. And the last slide, let's see. This one?
Yes.
Is this the right one? So so the desired outcome, of course. Thank you. I love it when you guys ask for clarification, because I know me, I can go off on tangents and I'm like, oh yeah, there's a slide that goes along with that, just like that happened. So the outcome, the desired outcome. How do you want to feel about yourself? Who else does this impact? Where do you feel this in your body? The long-term effects of solving this and getting it fixed. How does it impact your job and your earning potential? And new opportunities can this create? I always look at creating opportunities. What is the opportunity that we can create when we are in our highest vibe? What new strength or skill do you grow in the process of making this outcome happen? Is it determination, resilience, staying true to your word? What's the best part about this? Once I fix this and I continue to grow, how does that change my life in 5 to 10 years? And this is the most important one. Why am I worth creating this outcome in my life right now? And this is where I want you to spend the time. Why am I worth creating this outcome in my life right now? Great. I love these comments on here on how you can use the scale. right? Donnie, did you feel that? Do you guys have the same amount of clarity on this as you did the consequences? Because that's where you have to be clear. And the consequences if you don't, and the outcome, even more so connected to the outcome. Do you feel it? Does it resonate through you? Is it something worth fighting for? You guys went all radio silent on me. Talk to me.
You're making us think. So I'm just thinking, these are really great probing questions that really do help me think of the outcome and what I want to see on this chart. So I've been just listening, and these are really great, significant questions.
Good, good. You know, the best thing about learning this is you guys will always know it. You guys will always have this information to come back and go through this exercise again. Because things are going to change, your life is going to change, circumstances change. Oh, Denise, this one rings so true. We need to fight just as hard for ourselves as we do for our family, clients, and students. And right now, I'm giving you 100% permission. I'm giving you the whole slip. I'm giving you the notice that you fight harder for this, and everybody else will win too. Okay. I know you guys are maybe still writing down some answers. We're going to go to the next column of what do I need to believe? I love your comment, Renee. For these three critical areas, let's look at what you need to believe about yourself to get the outcome that you want. Because there is a belief that has been missing or that you haven't been paying attention to for these areas to maybe get where they are. Or maybe recently there's a new reason for them to become important. But you need to have something that you believe that you are worth it to make this happen. What do I need to believe about myself? For example, let's look at the one health-wise, because that's one I'm feeling right now too. I always make good choices for a healthy body. I need to believe that I make good choices for a healthy body. I need to believe that spending an hour walking outside in the sunshine. I don't know if any of you guys are in Valencia. I love walking Bridgeport Lake. It's beautiful, beautiful homes. There's ducks and geese that fly over and land on the water in this picturesque little euphoria. I believe that spending half an hour to an hour outside, walking, listening to music is going to make me a better coach, a better spouse, a better mom, a better friend, a better person. I believe when I make myself a priority, everybody wins. I believe when I exercise, I create even more time in my day. What do you need to believe? That was a big sigh.
That was me.
Would anybody be willing to share what you need to believe to get your desired outcome?
Christina, if I may, you're speaking here, and it just reminds me, I work with LACO, and we do serve the public, and oftentimes I've noticed that, that metaphor comes to mind. Like when you get on a plane, they say, if the plane is going down, you got to put that mask on yourself first before you help others. And this just is kind of like a wraparound thought that it's so true. If we're not taking care of ourselves, mind, body, and soul, I mean, starting from, your health, your fitness, so all these categories, areas of life are very important to be nourishing and, maintaining and keeping it, well and happy to your standards. And then it just overflows into your work life. And then as a role model that most of us are, because we are in the forefront, then it just reciprocates and it permeates. And then, you just shine in your greatness, or even you shine in your not so great. So, I mean, what you're saying, it's again, so valuable. And I just really want to take a moment to say thank you so much for being, putting light on a very relevant topic of conversation. Thank you.
I'm not crying, you're crying.
Oh, you're so sweet. I love it. Can we be friends?
Always. Absolutely.
I love it. We're simpatico.
But that's the thing, is like when it connects and you can relate it to different areas of your life, that's when it becomes immersing. You start living this in every aspect of your life. And that's when you're on track. Because I don't want just a happy home life and great kids and go on adventures. I want it all. I want every single 12 areas of my life to be off the charts. And that's one of my beliefs. I believe I can have it all. Do you?
I've been thinking a lot about the adventures part of it.
I knew that was one of your top 3 too. Huh?
Yeah, it's just something that I've been struggling with, especially having a family and feeling like we've lost an entire year of adventures. And, my thing is always we don't have enough time. There's not enough money. We don't, what if this happens? What if that happens? And, so I spend a lot of time being in that 11, 10 range where I'm overwhelmed, I'm disappointed. And I think living in the social media era, right? If I'm not staying at the Grand Californian in Disneyland, I don't want to do it, right? But really, my thing that I need to believe is grandeur is not always greater. I have a 6-year-old and a 17-year-old that I am losing every day as they get older. And it's like, we live by a lake, we live in the mountains. Like, why can't I take them on a walk? I'm gonna get emotional too, but grandeur is not always greater all the time. I'm losing this time with them because I have this idea that I have to post on my Instagram that we went to Bali and swung on a swing and, stood in rice fields for some reason. Like, why do I believe this, So that's where I'm at right now. And you've made me really rethink that and emotional. So thank you.
You're talking about, so I grew up in Northern California on a ranch next to Mount Diablo, and it was a state park. And I would literally come home from school every day, pack up saddlebags on my horse and my gun. I had a rifle. I was probably 15 at the time. And I would go up on the mountain and I'd stay the night up on the mountain. I'd come home for school in the morning. Those are the best memories of my childhood. Go on a scavenger hunt. I mean, okay, can I just ask where you live? Because it sounds amazing.
We live in the Tehachapi Mountains.
Okay, I didn't know there were mountains in Tehachapi or trees. So you've got this playground right in your, one of my favorite things is going and collecting pine cones, covering them in peanut butter and throwing bird seed on them. And then you get to see all these amazing birds that come in. I mean, how cool is that?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I drag my kids to the silliest stuff. We're right by Castaic Lake. So there's a really great viewpoint. You better believe at midnight on every meteor shower, girls, wake up. Let's get in the car. Let's get in the car. Hurry. And I'll drag them up there and they'll be like, Mom, what are you doing? And they're like, oh, wow, did you see that one? Did you see that one? Nature is the best experience. Nature is it. That is the most grand experience out there. So do it. Do it. I would love for you to message me within a week and tell me what experience you created with your kids out there. Would you? Okay, good. I love it.
And Christina, I see that Sarah has her hand up.
Yes, talk to me, Sarah.
Hi, Christina. I just want to commend her for being so real and transparent, because I think this year has been really hard for a lot of moms or working parents, especially if you're working from home and you have your kids with you. I mean, for me, I have 2 kids at home, and I know that I've had to kind of distance myself from social media, because social media only portrays what people want them to see, not what real life is and what we bring to our homes, right? So I kind of had to get away from that, because it was like the news. It was like you were seeing all these images and it was just becoming overwhelming or too much to handle. And I found, like, I started thinking about my childhood and what I did as a child. Like, we had slip and slides and we had things that were very non-materialistic, right? And like I went to the 99 cent store and bought like a cardboard, and then I bought balloons, and I bought little things where they could pop the balloons, and I just got black trash bags like we used to in the past and put them on the lawn, and soap detergent, because it is hard. It is hard when we're parents, but I think I appreciate the fact that you're presenting what you're presenting on today, because I think for us, for all of us, the difference makers, or even just anybody that's on here, we have been so busy trying to survive this year, and that we haven't had time to breathe, if I can say.
Yep.
And I think that's why I really appreciate what you're saying, because we forget about ourselves, but in reality, have we shown up for ourselves this past year?
I think that's something that we do as parents. And I know there's plenty of dads that have taken on the role of, staying at home and taking care of the kids if the mom is out. I mean, we've got every single imaginable scenario of, taking in extended family, of being caregivers. I mean, it's so overwhelming. And I will tell you, one of the categories, intellectual life. Nobody really, I think a couple people may have mentioned the intellectual life. This was my number one priority over this past year, is keeping it sane.
Yeah.
I'm not a news person anyway. I have a tendency to take in too much emotion when I watch the news. One, because it's usually slanted in one direction or the other, and it's not usually the full truth, no matter what side or what angle you're looking at it from. I look at kind of topics or highlights that come up in a certain news feed that I have. I do not watch news, and anything that is in my social media is inspirational, educational, cat videos, things that make me feel joyful, experiences of the people that I care about. If they didn't have something positive to contribute, they were snoozed. That is how I had to take care of my intellectual being this past year, because it's so overwhelming, Sarah. And we get it. We have some sort of way to filter it out. Our kids don't.
Correct.
So we have to be the ones to set those boundaries. We have to be the ones to say, put down the phone, let's go outside and play. And simpler is better, because then that means you're giving your kids the capacity to find joy wherever they're at, no matter what they're doing. Does that make sense?
Most definitely.
To know
Thank
that
you.
they can have fun outside in the backyard, on a camping trip, on going to the lake for the day. That gives them the capacity to have a joyful life, no matter how much money they have, no matter what experience they're creating. They can do that wherever. Oh, you guys are just warm in my heart. Okay. We ready? Do you guys know what you need to believe? Do you guys know what you need to believe? Yeah? I need some feedback here. I need to feel you know what you need to believe. Yeah? Okay.
Well, I'll speak up.
Please.
Well, throughout the workshop, I didn't know where this was going. But now that you ask, what do I need to believe? I need to believe in myself that I can. And I always had, and I always will. So no matter pre, during, post pandemic, we can, we will, because we're in the business of helping, right?
Yeah.
So I believe that I can, and I am, and I will. So it's never going to stop.
Okay. You just said two of the most powerful words in the history of ever. I am.
I am. Mm-hmm.
I am. And that takes us right where we need to be. Your I am statement.
I love them. I use them in my workshops. I love them.
Yep. Because I am are the two most powerful words because they are the story that you tell yourself. They can be used for good and they can be used for evil, but you get to make the choice.
Exactly. Right.
So this is for those three areas. From what you need to believe, you are creating I am statements.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to use the example that I have. I am more focused and productive when I exercise. I am more energetic and have more time and more energy for my family when I take care of my body. I am extremely creative and inspired, and I take intelligent action when I work out. Those are the ones that hit home for me. I want to know what the I am statements are that are meaningful for you and your outcome.
If I may piggyback on yours, Christina,
Yes.
the health and fitness category, I am definitely more energetic when I work out, but I feel like I'm on a high on life when I just feel good, like my mind, body, soul, especially physically. I'm just like happy, like nothing bothers me. I'm like, everything is great, high on life.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And we get to choose what you just said. Nothing, none of the little things bother me. You get to choose what you react to when you're high on life. When you're in that higher vibration, because when you're high on life, you're right up here at the top, darling. When you're high on life, you choose to react to situations from here. From here, you choose to react to situations differently. So, can you imagine the things that you choose to react to are the things that are meaningful, that have a purpose, that have impact? That's what you get to choose to react to when you're up here in this vibe. I love it. What are some more I am statements?
Well, my health and fitness, I will piggyback also with lead is when I exercise, I do feel happy, but it also I feel centered, like I'm aligned, like there's no, like my body's in tune with my environment.
Mm-hmm.
As far as friendships, I love that connection when I'm with my close friends, that the connecting, the energy that we both get from each other. And then also my family life, it makes me stronger emotionally. It really connects me. Like when they're around me, spiritually, I'm like huge. I somewhat expand to see them, from babies to teenagers to young adults. It was like, oh my gosh, this is my world. So it's just so loving and like so purple. I love it. I'm gonna use that.
Oh, purple. Love that.
So purple. How are you feeling today? So purple.
I'm so
You wouldn't even believe it. I'm so purple today.
My granddaughter likes purple aliens. So every time we sit around, she says, show me purple aliens. I'm like, okay, let me Google it. And she's like, oh, look, they're so cute. I'm like, so purple is, to me, that's the key word. And I'm going to use it. And I'm also going to pass it around. Purple. And I'm going to use this spiral. I really love it. Thank you so much for sharing it.
Oh, my pleasure. Absolutely. And this is something that I've picked up along the way in one of my coaching programs. So, it's a part, and one of the things that you just said, take it and you pass it on to somebody else too. Because that is creating those ripple effects. I love it. Mm-hmm. Okay. I haven't heard from any of the guys in quite a while. I mean, I would love to hear your take, your perspective on this, how this impacts your life.
So, gentlemen, don't be shy.
My colleague
this may be unusual, but help share with us. We value your opinion as well. And I see something coming in from Donnie.
Awesome.
I better prepare for work when I don't make the weekend full of activities. Hold on, I didn't get to see the whole chat.
And recharge and take time for you by creating adventures.
There you go. Thank you.
I love that.
If I can add just really quick, only because then I don't want to get a text message from Rosalinda saying, "Speak up, say something." I think some of it, obviously, for gentlemen, sometimes the touchy-feely type things, maybe it's a little bit harder for us to articulate. But everything that I'm hearing, I think some of it for me, at least personally, is that age, right? I'm in my 40s, early 40s. Kids are getting older, so I'm definitely hearing everything that moms are saying, that spending time with your children. I have a 17-year-old and a 13-year-old. So even thinking those things at times gets a little emotional because these are my two daughters and, they're becoming young ladies. So I think for me, I wish I would have known this a little bit more in my younger years, your 20s and your 30s, when you're kind of navigating life and in general. But I am at that point where there's so many things that are going on, not just with family, with work and everything else, with health, with, losing loved ones. And so all this now is kind of just puts that weight on the shoulders, and you want to start identifying, the important things in life. What is it? One, what we're doing. And I always used to joke when I was younger, like, who cares in 100 years type thing, because we want to definitely get involved in things that matter to us, that's important to our families, that on our deathbed, we're not remembering the negativity, the bad things. We're remembering all the great relationships that we had and all the great things that we did with our family. So I think it's that midlife crisis for me. I've not bought a motorcycle or anything of that craziness, but it is definitely all these little pieces. I think it's a great discussion piece, especially with the last year that we've had in dealing with just kind of detachment from individuals and meeting people through Zoom, which is not the greatest. So I think the content, the breakdown, that this is okay to talk about, because sometimes we have to have this strong image or that we have everything put together. And I think, like somebody had mentioned with social media or fake book, everything that looks good is not the reality. We all struggle on a day-to-day basis with one thing or another. I love food as well. The COVID button, everything that I'm, whatever it may be, because, there's those things that take from us. So to kind of hear the ladies speak, I figured I have women in my life. I have estrogen, I think, in there. That's why I still try to do manly things and go golf and do things of that nature. So I definitely understand and hearing everything, love everybody's openness, because I think that's what we don't get to hear at work, at the water cooler, anything like that. It's always the garbage. So I appreciate everybody unmuting, putting on in the chat features. To me, it's just been digesting a lot of things, but I figure I'd speak up a little bit since I guess I'm representing the guys. So if Greg, you want to add anything, any other gentlemen on here, please feel more than free to share. Thank you so much, Christina, for having this topic. Definitely.
Thank you. You just made my day complete.
Awesome.
And I got to tell you, this is from a mom's point of view. The relationships that girls have with their dads are probably the most important relationship they'll ever have in their life. So don't ever underestimate the value you have.
Remember, it's you crying at me, so I will get emotional.
I always cry.
Will get emotional. I will get definitely emotional. So thank you. I'm getting already choked up because they are the love of my life. So definitely, you hit the nail on the head.
We're lucky to have you.
Hi, Christina. It's nice to see you again.
Hi, John. Mwah! Big hugs and kisses.
You know, I like your presentation. It's very, very great. I'm at an age whereby I'm looking at trying to solidify my legacy with my family. Because I'm not in my 40s, I'm not in my 30s, I'm not even in my 60s. So my priorities has totally changed, whereby I've got a living trust. I'm taking all the stuff that I have to leave behind to try to put that in some perspective so that my kids can move on with that because I won't be here. So a lot of the stuff at my age has changed over the last 5-10 years, whereby I'm not looking at who I am anymore. I'm looking at my kids and my grandkids and who they are, because that's my legacy that I leave behind. Does that make sense?
Wow, absolutely.
Okay,
but
so I'll shut up now.
No, but you've created this all along the way.
Absolutely. So a lot of the stuff, you know, we've known each other for a long time. A lot of this good stuff, if I was 10, 15 years younger, would probably make more sense. I'm more looking at my beyond, which is where I'm going to be going in 5-10 years.
No, I'm not buying that, John.
I do.
I'm not buying that. You're not done yet.
Oh, no.
You've always been a man of impact. You've always been a man of connection. I've always known that about you from 20 years ago.
Yeah, been a long time, huh?
Long time. Yeah, we're that old. But you're not done yet.
Oh, no.
Yes, while looking at other people, but what is important to you now? It's that family area.
Of course it is. And I still have my motorcycle. I still have a fast car. I'm still going through my 6th midlife crisis. So, I mean, so I enjoy life, but
that's just leveling up. That's just leveling up. It's like getting a new thingy on Donkey Kong. Okay. You're just leveling up.
So anyway, I just thought I'd throw that out. So
it is, because everybody has a different perspective of what is meaningful to them in their life. Exactly. Thanks, John. It's so good to see you. You know what I miss most? There would be times that I would walk into this conference and I'd run around and give, Christina a hug, and, Denise and Ann. Last time I saw Ann, she's wearing a cowboy hat from the president's, remember the president's reception where you were wearing the cowboy hat? I was just like, I'm laughing over that. Okay, we're not done yet. We're not done yet. We're almost done. And I want to get through the last part because it's really important. We're going to wobble because we do this thing called humaning in life. Life happens. Oh, we've seen life happen this past year, we're coming out of it. But the truth is that there's always going to be something. There's going to be a natural disaster. There could be an earthquake. There could be a loss of life. There's always going to be a circumstance. So how do we move through these experiences while honoring and recognizing the experience, being connected to that emotion, but then also bring ourselves back to a new emotional home that serves you in your life better? Because sometimes it's this rebound effect that we're down here, we try and get out, and then we fall down, and then we have a hard time getting back up again. So, we want to go through the experience, understand it, understand the gift of whatever it is that we can gain from it. And a lot of this is gratitude for me. We'll get into that in a moment. But there is a gift or something that I am being called upon to recognize, to build, like building a new muscle at the gym. Sometimes muscles have to break to grow back stronger, right? It's that breaking point that if we can mend that muscle, that makes it stronger. So, you know, I say, ooh, that was fun. I say, you know, always allow yourself to have the 2 minutes. The sky is falling, you know, from Chicken Little, the sky is falling, the sky is falling. Let yourself go through that. Let yourself have that emotion. Actually amplify it if you need to. Don't try and minimize it. But then you can get out of that. You can step and say, I've given myself the time and energy that it's devoted to recognize and understand this feeling. But I choose not to suffer. I choose not to wallow in the suck. Because that's easy. It's easy to play the martyr, to play the victim, but the consequences are pretty extreme. So you can make the choice to walk out of the suffering and come back to the emotional, vibrational home of expansion. So the goal is not that we're not going to wobble. I don't know if you guys remember these. I grew up with these Weeble Wobbles. That's why I put this up here. It's this little figure that goes back and forth, but never completely tips over. We're going to wobble. The point is not to wobble, because that would mean you're a robot. The point is to lessen the wobble and shorten the time. Then you get back into your emotional, vibrational, purple zone. Or if you need to work up to it, great. Do one little step at a time. Listen to music, go outside for a walk. Spend some time plant. I love planting. I've totally turned into a gardener over pandemic. It was really crazy. You know, put my hands in the dirt. Whatever that makes me feel connection to the next level, if I can't jump right back up. And that's okay too. Then you take intelligent, inspired action to get back into that higher vibration. And I know it's pretty old school, but I'm gonna have you guys get up from your desk again. We're not gonna dance, but I want you to think about the outcomes that you created and the I am statements that you created. Think about those, grab your paper. If you guys want to mute, no, actually I don't. I want you to unmute yourselves, everybody. I want you to unmute yourselves. And on the count of 3, I want you to start reading your I am statements. Standing up, take a deep breath.
Video's on, video's on.
Okay.
Hold on, I need to stand up too.
And we're all going to be saying it at the same time. So it doesn't matter what you say. Okay. On the count of 3. 1.
Jackie, stand up.
Stand up.
2, 3. I am better for my family when I exercise. Create even more time and more energy in my family. Creative and inspired. Exercise. I know that I show up as my highest self. Everybody benefits. I am worth it. I am worthy.
I am worthy.
And I deserve to give this to myself.
I am respected. I am loved. I am creative.
We'll hold on to good things and bring good changes.
Do you guys feel that vibration? That collective vibration? I'm tingling literally all over. Can you guys feel that? Or is it just me? It's just me? Okay, I'm cool with that.
Great. It's great. It's happy energy.
Your energy.
Yeah, but that's collective vibration. So when you join
the us, the we.
Yes, it's all of it. It's all of it. Thank you. You guys can have a seat.
No, thank you. Awesome.
Thank you. Of course. Okay, this is one of my favorite things. You have to ask questions. When you're in the wobble, you have to ask questions. Who is showing up? Is it your superhero or your supervillain? Our supervillain focuses on the challenges, the problems, and it brings his friends of unworthiness and overwhelm along the play. And they'll get right up in your face because the problem's right here. And it obscures the outcome that you're going for. This is why mindset is so critical. Every single day you have to focus and choose who is going to show up today. Because when you make decisions from the villain, you're in contraction mode. When you're in contraction mode, you can only see the problem and the challenges and why it can't be done and why you don't have energy and why it's not worth it, why you're not worth it. That's what happens when the supervillain shows up. When the superhero shows up, I mean, we just came from having our superhero talk to us. That's who just showed up. Then we focus on the outcome that we want because there's more than one way to get to an outcome. It just takes persistence. We're focused on what we want. We're focused on what the goal is. We're focused on how we show up to ourselves and others. I can tell you one of the things that is going to put you the quickest into supervillain mode is Facebook, the news, the chatter. The superhero that shows up when you're connecting with nature, family, friends, if they're good, when you're doing something that you love and that is good for yourself. That's why when you're out walking around, listening to music, listening to your body, that's when you set your goals for the day. Because that is going to give you not only the outcome that you want, but the path to get there. And you get to decide which one runs your life. And I'll talk to my kids in this way too. You know, my daughter was in overwhelm because she had an AP test coming up. The history teacher wasn't giving her, you know, a lot of information. And, you know, I'm like, okay, we're focused on the challenge right now. So what is the outcome that you want? And then of course I get the mom stop coaching me thing. Okay, granted, I get it, no worries. But they have tools because I can ask questions. I don't tell them what to do. And this is another skill that you get to build for your clients, your customers. You get to ask them questions. Who's showing up right now? Are you focused on the problem or are you focused on the outcome that you want? And knowing that every single problem is figure outable. Yes, that is a word. Figure outable. If it can be figured out, why can't you figure it out? You get your resources, you get excited, you get your imagination, you get your creativity, and then you can figure it out. What questions are you asking? Write these questions down. What questions are you asking of yourself? What am I making this mean? We are meaning-making machines. We will assign a meaning to every single thing that happens in our life. Why not make a meaning that works for you? Because sometimes we make meanings based on past episodes or histories of things that used to be true that are no longer true. What is the gift in this moment? What muscle am I being called to build? Has it always been like this? Or is this something different? Is there some doubt? Has it always been like this? Does everyone believe this? And then again, what am I choosing to focus on? The outcome or the problem? I've given you 3 ways to change your physiology, your power pose, how you stood when you talked about your I am statements. That's your power pose. The music, soundtrack of awesome. If you haven't built a soundtrack of awesome on Spotify, I invite you to come and steal from mine if you would like that, and then throw yourself a dance party. So on Spotify, I have the Secret Sauce soundtrack. I have crazy songs on there from every genre. I mean, all different types of things, but they get me energized. Find the ones that that give you energy. And then be in gratitude. This isn't about doing gratitude, and this isn't a checkbox that we check off like a journal. I love gratitude journals. I think they have a purpose, but that's a checkbox. Being in gratitude is recognizing what you have to be grateful for right now. And like I said here, if you have your health to most degree, food on your table, roof over your head, you are already winning in this game of life. You're going to be in gratitude for your challenges because that is what allows you to grow. And I'm going to tell you, if you want this extraordinary life, if you want to go after all the things, if you want to go after and have it all, you're going to have the challenges, because the challenges are the way. The challenges will give you exactly what you need to have the life that you want. The challenges are the way, and be in gratitude for the challenges. And then be in gratitude for everything that you're creating as if you already have it. Your mind doesn't know the difference between a thought of it being a thought of what you have right now and a thought what you have in the future. You know that? Your brain can't distinguish. So what if you can be grateful for 5 things that you're going to have for experience for this weekend? It's Thursday, so we get to be grateful for it for Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Instead of just experiencing it one day, we're experiencing it for 4 or 5. That's pretty incredible, right? Be in gratitude for everything that's coming down the line that you're working towards. And I love this because it's a decision. I can decide today to recalibrate my energy and commit to love and joy. This is the greatest choice of all.
Wow.
This will take you out of suffering. When we choose every day, multiple times a day, to show up with love and joy in our hearts, this also gives us greater capacity to serve our people.
Wow.
How many of you feel like you have a new perspective on your work-life balance? Do you feel more connected to the outcome that you want to create in your life?
Yes.
Thank you.
I feel like it's allowed me to have like a reset button today. Like okay, reset. Okay, start again, fresh. Here we go. That's where I'm at right now.
Awesome. Good. Every day is your reset day. Every single day. I do it multiple times a day. Yeah. And you have to continually check in with that. Okay, I told you that you would be rewarded for staying through the end. Do you understand why it was so important that we go through this whole journey, this whole experience together? For me, this is just an adventure. It's an adventure because every time I get to do this, I learn something new from you. But thank you, and I appreciate all of the input. I appreciate all the work that you did, all the heartfelt comments that you provided.